We're breaking down predictions for the SEC, the college football playoff, pick our national champion, and the Heisman Trophy winner. I'm Jake Crain. It's Flamin' Dragon Friday. Let's get this party started. Welcome to Crain & Company. Now, look, y'all know me. I'm not going to beat around the bush. And to be honest, trying to predict who is going to finish where in the SEC this year, especially in the SEC West, about sent me to Shutter Island. But I feel like I figured it out somewhat. And while Georgia is the obvious pick to win the SEC East, that's not going to surprise anybody, I have LSU losing to Alabama in Tuscaloosa, but winning the West to play the Dogs in Atlanta. How might that work out, you ask? Well, while Bama does recruit at a very high level, and tends to reload rather than rebuild, there are many moving parts they have going on right now for Saban's bunch. The unknowns are as plentiful as we've seen in a long time. And the boys from the Bayou do return more than Warren Buffett's portfolio. And I have Alabama losing at Texas A&M, and for the first time in my sports media career, as young as it may be, I have Auburn winning the Iron Bowl at the end of the season because of the unknown factors at Alabama. Ask yourself this. When is the last time Alabama had to replace a quarterback and a left tackle in the same year? If J.C. Latham doesn't kick over, they'll be starting someone at left tackle with no experience. Not only that, but it seems like the quarterback race will now be extending to at least week 2 when a tough Texas team comes to town. Add in the fact they're transitioning both coordinators and their offense schematically and philosophically back to the bully ball style of Alabama old, and the amount of unknowns, as I said earlier, are plentiful. More than I can remember since, forever in T-Town, since Saban took over. The spectrum of result for Alabama this year is wider than any recent memory. Would anyone really be shocked if they went 12-0? Would it blow your mind if they happen to go 9-3 this year? Pair that with what LSU is returning at key positions, quarterback, offensive line, defensive line on the interior, and it just leads me to believe that Brian Kelly will win his second straight SEC West title. Now, let's see where we have everybody else in the league projected to finish. David Cohn, former Michigan quarterback. To my left, Blaine Crain, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver. To my right, guys, it's an absolute logjam in the SEC West, and I'm about to really upset some Florida fans. Vandy fans, all 9 of y'all can be pissed. Whatever. But let's go ahead. Throw up my graphic.
Bring his graphic.
Throw it up.
I want to see it.
Here's what we got. All right. And it is Flamin' Dragon Friday. Go ahead. Play the Flamin' Dragon when I'm trying to get through this so I can get to this.
Come on. There it is.
Flaming Dragon.
Yep. Cool story. Bow to your sensei. Okay.
A half.
Cool.
Perfect game.
So like the least of my worries today. Burn it down. Burn it all down. Here's what I got. In the SEC West, LSU 11-1, 7-1 in the conference, losing at Alabama, winning the rest of the way, including against Florida State in week 1, even though Mason Smith's out, right? The bricklayer. Then I got Bama going 9-3. That's right. Under 10 wins for the first time in the last 15 years. Eventually, it's got to happen. I got them losing to Texas A&M, and Auburn. Makes them 6-2 in the SEC. I got Arkansas, shocking a lot of people. I know there's some questions about their offensive line. All right, and secondary a little bit. I'm going to get to their schedule in a second. I got them going 9-3, 5-3 in the conference, starting out 4-3 in the conference. We'll get to that. I got A&M, surprise, going 8-4, 4-4 in the conference. Auburn going 8-4, 4-4 in the conference. I'm going to get to that schedule. I got them sweeping the non-conference, sweeping the Mississippi schools at home, beating Vandy on the road, and splitting Georgia and Alabama, beating Alabama. That gets them to 8. Then give me Mississippi State, 7-5, 3-5, and Ole Miss, 7-5, 3-5. Every team is not only bowl eligible in the SEC West, they've got a game, a cushion to be bowl eligible in the SEC West. SEC East, Georgia, 12-0, 8-0. Nobody's surprised there. Tennessee, not a bad year 2 after a big year last year. I got them 9-3, 5-3 in the conference. Kentucky, 8-4, 4-4 in the conference, and South Carolina 5-7. Can't wait to go on the Spurs Up show again this year. I don't think they're going to pull a rabbit out of their hat against Clemson at the end of the year this year. And Tennessee is going to be 13 flavors of pissed off after what happened last year. I got South Carolina 5-7, 3-5. Missouri 6-6, 2-6 in the conference. Going bowling, then Florida 3-9. But I don't think they fired Billy. I don't think Scott Strickland fires Billy. I got him 1-7 in the conference. Then Vanderbilt 3-9, 0-8 in the conference. That's right. Sorry, Clark Lee. Schedule's different than it was last year. Team's a little bit different than it was last year for Vanderbilt. So that's what I got, fellas.
Wow.
Yep.
Man.
But nothing gets easier for Florida, especially next year. So, I mean.
Oh, I know.
Schedule's even harder.
I know.
This was painful filling this out.
Dude,
almost impossible.
I was sitting here with Flamin' Dragon yesterday. This was painful filling out the SEC schedule.
I don't know if Tom Cruise could have done it.
Every team, just so many great teams, coaches, players all around this conference here. Man, I'm starting to get a sneaking suspicion that you and I are going to have very similar finishes here.
Really?
In the college football playoff. But we'll get to that next. Bring mine up. Ours is identical in the SEC West from top to bottom, except for Texas A&M and Auburn's full schedule.
Okay.
I have 7-5 each instead of 8-4. Also, two things here on my conference records for Alabama and Arkansas. Alabama should be 6-2, not 7-2, and Arkansas should be 5-3, not 6-3.
Okay.
We were doing so many 9-game conferences.
Oh, I know. The SEC's going to 9 eventually.
Okay, so let's just break this down real quick because I also have LSU winning the SEC West, but I have them losing at Alabama on the road in Tuscaloosa.
Okay.
You should have that too.
Yep.
And then you have Alabama losing 2 SEC games.
Yep.
You have them losing the Iron Bowl.
Yep.
I do too.
You do?
I do too.
Wow.
I wasn't expecting you to have that. But in the Bermuda Triangle, in Jordan-Hare, it's going to get awfully interesting. So what's your other loss for Alabama?
At A&M.
Okay. I have Arkansas beating Alabama in Tuscaloosa.
Really?
Arkansas going on the road. Yep.
Wow.
And I still have Arkansas 9-3, the same as you, but I have them losing a game at Florida.
You got them losing at Florida.
I think Arkansas is going to be much better than Florida this year. I agree with you in many respects, but I have Florida 4-8 instead of 3-9. I just think the floor has got to be 4-8 for Florida, man.
See, you would think that, man. I'm just sitting there looking at that schedule.
Like, can Florida really be 3-9?
The fact that we're even saying that's wild.
I know.
Then I have Texas A&M 7-5, Auburn 7-5, Mississippi State 7-5, and Ole Miss 7-5, with Mississippi State winning that Egg Bowl at the end of the year. And then, Georgia running 12-0 through the East. Kentucky 9-3, 5-3 in the conference. Tennessee 9-3, 5-3 in the conference.
So you have Kentucky beating Tennessee?
Kentucky beating Tennessee at home. Tennessee is the biggest one to throw off all of this.
I know.
Because if Joe Milton, like we've talked about ad nauseum, this could be a 7-5 team. This could be a 12-0 team, depending on how he plays. I have South Carolina going bowling, man. At 7-5 and 4-4 in the conference, 5-7 for Missouri, 4-8 for Florida, and then 3-9 for Vanderbilt. I do think they win all 3 of their non-conference.
Do you have South Carolina beating Kentucky at home?
South Carolina losing to Kentucky at home.
Okay, I got them losing to Kentucky at home and Clemson at home. I got them beating Vandy, Jacksonville State, Missouri, Florida, and Furman. You must have them beating North Carolina.
I do. So I have. So my losses, South Carolina's losses for me are at Georgia, at Tennessee, at Texas A&M, Kentucky at home, and Clemson.
You got it. See, I got Mississippi State beating them at home. So there's a couple differences there. No, I like that.
Very similar. All right, pull your boys up. Let's get into it. Here we go. Bama, 11-1. Why wouldn't I believe in it? Especially this year because everybody's doubting them. Perfect for Nick Saban. Perfect for this Crimson Tide team. A lot of questions, but I know one guy who can answer a lot of questions. And that's Nick Saban.
He playing quarterback?
Their one loss. The Iron Bowl.
You got him. You have it too.
The Iron Bowl, baby.
Sweep. Now it'll never
Triangle.
I just want to say, because I'm going to catch hell for this, I've never predicted in
No.
my sports media career Auburn to beat Alabama. This is the first time ever I've ever done.
Now that we've all done it, I'm putting $100 on Alabama.
For sure. Why not?
Smart man. All right, LSU 11-1. I'd have them losing at Bama. Ole Miss 8-4. I don't think Lane will ever win 10 games, but we're going to give him 8-4. Arkansas 7-5. A lot of questions. I know you got Rocket. I know you got KJ. Offensive line questions. Defense always questions.
Offensive line and secondary.
Can they stay healthy? You give me Auburn 7-5. You'll take that into Hugh Freeze first year. 3-5 in conference. A&M 7-5 going bowling. Congratulations, Jimbo. Y'all did it. Mississippi State, 6-6, and that was a tough one for me, man. Mississippi State was a team that won nine games last year.
Games.
You bring back Will Rogers, who can absolutely sling the pill.
Got Woody.
But I just went 6-6. All right, let's go to the East. Surprise, surprise. Georgia Bulldogs 12-0. Even with long-faced Carson Beck, that team will be so good from top to bottom. Kentucky, 8-4. One thing Kentucky can always do, you added a great piece of quarterback. They can run the ball. They can stop the run. And they're always good up front on the offensive line and defensive line. So I believe 8-4 for Tennessee. I just don't know how much I believe in Joe Milton. I got to see it first. I know he had some flashes, but, man, he really has to become comfortable in the pocket and hits the throws he need to hit. South Carolina 7-5, going bowling. Missouri 7-5, drinking the boys, coming through. Look, I believe in the Brady Cook. I don't know if he'll start. I know they're still in a battle a little bit, but I think he'll be the guy. Florida 4-8 and 2-6. I had Florida. I was sitting next to David talking about I had him winning one SEC game. I was like, something didn't feel right about it. I don't know if I can take myself serious if I come out here and they only win one game.
I go with my
no way.
Man, I'm going with my.
There's no way. So I gave him 2-6. This one hurt me. This last one hurt me.
Yeah.
Vandy 3-9 and 0-8 in the conference. Look, I mean, it's tough. The schedule's tough for Clark Lee and the boys. Let's focus on finish our stadium.
I've got LSU beating Georgia in the conference championship game. We'll get to that when we talk about the playoff. I got Kirby as the coach of the year, player of the year, Jaden Daniels.
I like Jaden Daniels. And the way that I have it shaken out, I think Brian Kelly would be coach of the year as well. So let's break this down real quick. So you have Alabama 11-1. Their loss is the Iron Bowl.
Correct.
I have them 10-2. You have them 9-3.
Yep.
So Arkansas, we both have 9-3 on the year, which that's a heck of a season for Arkansas.
Heck of a season.
You have them 7-5. What are those losses for Arkansas?
LSU.
Yep.
Ole Miss.
Me too.
Mizzou.
Okay.
Bama. State.
Yeah, see, I've got Arkansas' schedule is kind of weird when you look at it. I've got them beating Western Carolina, beating Kent State, beating BYU, start out 3-0, lose at LSU, beat A&M on a neutral site, lose at Ole Miss and Bama back-to-back.
Okay.
They beat Mississippi State at home, beat Florida on the road, beat Auburn at home, beat FIU at home, and then beat Missouri at home to finish the season with 5 straight wins in a year where there's not a ton of returning quarterbacks and backfields in the SEC. I know there's some questions at tackle at Arkansas. I feel like Sam Pittman, even though he is the head coach, he's an offensive line guy. I think he can figure it out. The defense does worry me, but that's why I have them losing at LSU, at Ole Miss, and at Bama to go 9-3. But let me ask you this, David. Wait, you have Auburn going what, 7-5?
I have Auburn going 7-5.
Run through their schedule.
Yeah.
Tell me how you have
so
them.
UMass win, at Cal win, Samford win. I do have them losing at Texas A&M, and I have them losing to Georgia at home, and then losing at LSU.
I do too. 3 straight losses there.
Yes, so 3-3. But then I have them beating Ole Miss at home, dropping the Mississippi State game at home, beating Vanderbilt on the road, losing to Arkansas on the road, and then finishing with back-to-back wins at New Mexico State and in the Iron Bowl.
So I have exactly what you have, except I have Auburn beating Mississippi State. So they're going to go, according to what I have, 3 wins in a row, 3 losses in a row, 3 wins in a row, a loss, and 2 wins, including Alabama, to just have everybody freaking out. I don't know if there's enough toilet.
So you're at 8-4?
I'm at 8-4,
Nice.
4-4.
Okay, so then Florida, we've already talked about you have only 3 wins there.
I got them beating McNeese, Charlotte, Enter Webb, and Vandy.
Okay, I have that, but then I also have that win against Arkansas at home, which, look, again, it's not likely, but it's just, look, it's tough to go win on the Swamp. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Tennessee could go have their hands full in the Swamp, too.
I agree.
Early in the season, let's say maybe Joe Milton's turning the football over early in the year before he gets it figured out. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to put 3 wins beside Florida's name.
Yeah.
Just doesn't feel right.
Blaine with Kentucky.
Yes.
We both have them 8-4, 4-4. Read out what you have for Kentucky.
Okay, well, first of all, I have them losing to Georgia,
Yes.
Mississippi State,
Yes.
South Carolina,
Wow.
and Bama.
I went back and forth on that South Carolina game. I just don't trust South Carolina up front. I've got Kentucky starting out 5-0.
Me too.
Yeah. Schedule dictates it.
Losing to Georgia on the road.
Yep.
Beating Missouri at home, and then 3 straight losses. I got Tennessee sneaking one out on the road. I feel like Joe Milton will be able to keep the ball in the strike zone enough. I got him beating losing to Mississippi State on the road, then losing to Bama at home before they win at South Carolina and then at Louisville to close it out.
So I have them beating Tennessee at home for 9-3. That's Kentucky. So then LSU we've already talked about. So I have 11-1 there,
I have 11-1.
losing in Tuscaloosa.
Yep.
What loss do you have?
I have them losing at Bama.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We do too. So we all three
of
have
us
the
have
exact same
them
thing.
losing
for
at
LSU
Bama.
then.
And then, 7-5 for me with Mississippi State. That's losses to LSU, South Carolina, Alabama, on the road at Arkansas, and on the road at Texas A&M.
Did y'all both have A&M going 8-4? Or you had A&M?
I have A&M going 8-4.
I have Texas A&M going
I've got
7-5.
A&M losing to. I got A&M starting out 4-0.
Okay.
Me
Including
too.
winning on the road at Miami.
Went on the road at Miami.
I got them losing to Arkansas on the neutral site.
Same.
I got them beating Alabama at home.
I don't. I have that loss.
All right, people think that's crazy. I got a feeling. I believe in Wegman.
always
I don't
play
think
him
it's
tight,
crazy.
man.
They did it last time.
They always play him
Dude,
tight.
last time they
I
came
know
to
with
College
Calzada
Station.
at quarterback, and there wasn't these questions. That was with Bryce Young
Yeah.
in that team. I got them A&M losing at Tennessee.
Same.
I've got A&M losing at Ole Miss,
Same.
and I've got A&M losing at LSU.
Same. Okay, so you just have them 8-4.
I have them
Okay.
8-4,
I have 7-5.
true and true.
I'm 7-5 as well. Losing Arkansas.
Trying to see what else. Ole Miss, the Mississippi schools, man.
Break down Ole Miss again.
Here's what I got. I got Ole Miss 7-5, 3-5. I got Ole Miss starting out 3-0. I got them beating Tulane on the road.
I have the same thing, but
Yeah,
that is still going to be a dog.
Oh, that's going to be a dogfight. I've got them losing at Bama in Game 4 and at LSU at home. I mean, playing Bama and LSU back to back. That's tough. So starting out 3-2, I got them beating Arkansas at home.
I do too. Which it might be crazy, but yeah, that's.
I mean, that's a 3-2. I don't think there's a bye week in between there. I got them losing at Auburn.
No, their bye week is after Arkansas, before Auburn.
After Arkansas, before I got them losing at Auburn. I've got them beating Vanderbilt and A&M back-to-back at home, losing on the road at Georgia, then beating Monroe at home and losing at Mississippi State.
Man, I think we have just about the same exact thing there.
Great minds think alike, boys.
And then Tennessee. Tennessee's losses for me are at Alabama, at Kentucky, and Georgia at home.
Yep, I've got Tennessee losing at Bama, at Kentucky, and against Georgia at home.
I have those three, but just throw A&M in there.
Tennessee starting out, I got them starting out 6-0, boys. Neyland's going to be, Knoxville in general is just going to be absolutely bananas. All right, let's get to the Booster Club. Let's go ahead and look around. Let's get Feem over here. Let's
Jake,
assess the damage.
You did say his name twice.
Good. Now it's out of the way.
Good.
Now we
Get it
can
out of the way.
There you go.
Guys, just get it out of the way.
Now we can
Great.
just call you Blaine.
Great.
All right,
You're Blaine today.
let's go to the Booster Club. Cole Frink, $5 donation.
Okay.
Okay, we get it. We love
All right, he says LeBron is mid, MJ's the GOAT, and the Dragon is hitting the over today. Cole, wow, man. You're an absolute
Yeah,
genius.
good call, Cole.
You're an
Let's get some
absolute
football
genius.
stuff.
All right, well, I got to read donations.
I know.
Let's go to Farmer Jake with a $70 donation.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wow.
Appreciate it,
He wants
man.
to be heard.
Happy birthday, Flaming Dragon. Appreciate
Yes.
it, bro. Can I get a motivational speech from my wife, Kristen, who listens to the show? We got married a month ago, and y'all have been a big part of my breakfast routine after barn chores. It's like she embraced the tradition. Share some Skyhook. I'll get to it later in the show. We're going to get some football questions rolling.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I wanna hear your motivation.
Let's go to John Green. He says, I don't know if Kentucky gets enough credit. I mean, Liam Cohn is back.
Yep.
Better quarterback this year.
Yep.
And never going to worry about Mark Stoops on defense.
No, Kentucky's going to stay with a really good defense. Offensive line-wise, that was the biggest problem last year. Don't forget, Barry and Brown's a hell of a player. Dane's a hell of a player. I believe they had the Ray Davis kid transferred from Vanderbilt, unless I'm just absolutely losing my mind. I think they'll be better up front, man. I like Kentucky. Devin Leary sliding under the radar when he was the poster boy of everybody in the world last year. Some people at NC State going to the playoff. And I know he got hurt, but I think it's kind of a good resurgence for him at Kentucky.
Let's go to College Football Focus. It says Mississippi State may falter due to a change in the offense and fewer top-line skill players on offense, but the defense should be very good this year.
The defense should, but I'm the opposite. Mississippi State, and I love Mike Leach. We all know that. They're the most predictable team in college football last year. I mean, it got to the point where everybody just started dropping 8 and making you throw the ball in front. They would pass to run, and they weren't able to hit a ton of explosive plays. Going back to an offense that is more balanced, and balance isn't just run pass, right? It's making good decisions. I think that'll make it easier for Will Rogers to hit plays down the field. I think play action is going to be way more effective. I think Woody at running back is going to have a big year. I think it's better for Mississippi State. So to me, I think it's going to help them. And now the book's not out on them. You got to go rewrite the script of who you think Mississippi State is offensively. So I think it's going to help them.
Let's go to Trey Wright. He says, how's UGA the obvious pick in the East? New quarterback, new OC that has been trashed the last decade.
Kind of
I
new
wouldn't-
OC.
Yeah, I want to
Kinda.
say Mike's been trash.
I would say Mike Bobo's been trash. The reason Georgia's obvious pick in the East is because they have a better team than everybody else in the East. I mean, yeah, Carson Beck's got to slide in there, but he doesn't have to be anything special. I mean, you look at the weapons that Georgia has. Let's go through them. Dominic Lovett, Ra Thomas, Brock Bowers. I know they're beat up in the backfield. They got probably a top 3 offensive line in the country. You've got Weapon X and Brock Bowers. That's not even including Oscar Delp and the rest of the aliens that are running around in that tight end room. And then you look on the defensive side, and we ought to just send those guys to Ukraine. They'll have the war done in about a week.
Here's what I was asking myself yesterday when I was filling this out. Let's say Carson Beck comes in and he just turns the football over. He just doesn't play good football, right? Which is very possible. I mean, we don't know. We haven't seen him under fire on the road in the SEC. What is Georgia's schedule if that happens? That's what I was asking myself, because they're still going to win a ton of football games, even if they get mediocre play at quarterback.
Yeah, I look at it. I mean, you've got. Even if Carson Beck falls flat on his face, you got guys like Gunnar Stockton and other guys that I really believe in. But your toughest game is what? At Tennessee? I mean, look on the road. That's where I look at. At home, you can make up for those deficiencies. I mean, your hardest game at home is who?
Kentucky?
Ole Miss?
Maybe South Carolina?
Maybe?
Spencer Rattler might freak out.
I'm looking at Georgia's schedule, and then I look at the rest of the teams in the East. There's a reason I think we got how many teams? 2 teams in the East not going to a bowl. 3 teams in the East, at least in mine. Now, I don't know, APR, all that stuff. I got South Carolina 5-7, even though I got them with a better record in the SEC than Missouri, who's 6-6. And every team in the West, all 3 of us have going to a bowl game.
I do too, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Malcolm Martin. Says, go Gators, but I hope we go 5 or 7. If worse, that means we get really old Billy Napier.
See, I don't think they'll get... Here's the problem, though, and this is what you brought up. That schedule next year doesn't get any easier. I just don't believe in Graham Mertz and what they have on offense. I mean, you've lost some guys on defense, and look at this schedule, honestly. When you look at Florida's team, Utah at Utah, that's a loss.
Mm-hmm.
That's a loss. McNeese at home, it's a win. Tennessee at home, I think Tennessee's a better team.
Yeah, I agree.
Charlotte at home, that's a win. At Kentucky,
loss.
It's a better team. Yeah, Vandy at home. Give you that dub. At South Carolina. That's a tough place to go play and a tough place to win, especially when you don't have better personnel than they do. Georgia at home. Loss. Arkansas at home. I know, Cone, you picked them to beat Arkansas. I could see that. I think that's one of the more toss-up games they have. Then you go to LSU to get your brains beat out. Then you go to Missouri, which Drink and them are going to need that one. Mm-hmm. And they do return a lot on defense. And then, surprise, you get Florida State at home, who's somewhat of a college football playoff contender.
Now, Vegas does have them at 5.5 wins, so that would be underperforming.
I would smash the under.
Kentucky, they have Kentucky at 6.5 wins. I have Kentucky 9-3 right now, so that's the biggest outlier. Like, take the Kentucky over there. And then on the Georgia question, I mean, look, the line for them is 11.5 right now. So even Vegas is saying they would have to drop, one game to miss their
I mean, what does Vegas have the over/under Arkansas wins at? 6.5.
7.
Okay.
They don't have a hook on Arkansas, but still, I have Arkansas 9-3, so I'm covering that by 2 games.
I got Arkansas getting hot at the end of the year.
They have A&M at 7.5. I have them 7-5. They have Auburn at 6.5. I have them 7-5. And then they have Mississippi State 6.5 and Ole Miss 7.5.
Yeah, I mean that lines up.
All right, let's go to John Edward Kruger. What's up, John? He says, no chance that Arkansas loses to Florida.
I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I know there's some personnel questions still at Arkansas. That defense was awful last year. Worse than the conference.
I would have made that same exact statement about Florida playing Vanderbilt last year. I would have made that same exact statement about Tennessee playing South Carolina last year.
Yeah, I mean, look,
what happens because it's the SEC.
When
you go on the road, in the swamp, weird things happen.
But don't forget, Arkansas's defense was awful last year. One of the worst, if not the worst, in the SEC, and they were still hanging around games. Still hanging in there. So if that defense can be a little bit better, which I think they will be, the pass rush worries me a little bit, but I'm just telling you, man, there's something about Arkansas this year. I just believe in them.
All right, let's go to Lucas Blanchard with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, Luke. He says, can Brian Kelly win a natty in his second year?
Wow, what a great segue. What a great segue. I do want to let you know, we have calls. I'd go ahead and start calling in here in a minute. 1-855-236-3228. If you want to scream at me, that's fine. Just want to scream at David or Blaine, that's fine as well. Even though
don't scream at David.
It is his birthday this weekend, and he is Flaming Dragon, so be careful. But first, all right, I can tell you who's going to win the natty when it comes to the best meat delivery service there is.
Tell him.
Yeah, that's good, Ranchers. Okay, you just got the pork box in?
I did.
I
got it yesterday. Did you see the pitch yesterday?
Looks delicious.
All right, look, we know it's hot as hell outside, but fall's coming, right? Fall's coming. You can feel a little bit in the air. Look at that extended forecast. All right, and inflation. We know we're feeling the heat in more ways than one, but guess what? Your meat price with Good Ranchers, that's locked in, like Georgia winning the East. All right, for 2 years. You might be thinking a price lock guarantee on meat. Yes, it is amazing. Yes, this is really happening. You are awake. This isn't a dream. See, you're not waking up now. Good Ranchers is the only meat company locking your price with their industry-first price lock guarantee. Since 2021, they've been helping people combat high prices, as well as the mystery of which meat company is the best there ever was. The answer is easy. All right. Turns out that over 80%. You want to hear a stat that'll blow your mind? All right. Outside of what we're about to read for this college football playoff, 85% of grass-fed beef is imported from overseas. They're tricking us, dog. Man. We want them eating the grass from over here, all right? So not only is store-bought meat expensive, it's often low foreign quality. And when you subscribe to Good Ranchers, you get a guaranteed price and trusted 100% American grass-fed beef.
Yes, sir.
All right? And I saw they have some seafood on the way, too. I'm pretty excited about that. So visit goodranchers.com. Use our code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, for $30 off any box. That's promo code BOOSTER at goodranchers.com. Goodranchers.com, American meat delivered. All right, crazy scenario. So for this to make sense, all right, I need to remind people I have Michigan going undefeated, win the conference championship. Got Texas going undefeated, beating Texas Tech in the conference championship. I do want to let everybody know I got Notre Dame going 11-1. Woo! That's right. I got them losing at Clemson. I got them beating Ohio State at home and USC at home. That's right, Colleen. How about that? Don't want to hear anything more about us saying negative things about Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman got you going 11-1. But here's where it gets wonky, okay? If what I think holds true in the SEC, Georgia goes undefeated in regular season, right? Goes to the conference championship game. They'll be number one in the country, okay? And I got them playing LSU. All right? So I got LSU going 11-1, losing to Alabama on the road November 4th. I've got Notre Dame losing at Clemson on the road November 4th, okay? That'll make sense in a second. So if LSU beats Georgia, like I think they will in the SEC championship game, that'll move Michigan up to number one in the country, number one overall seed. Texas, all right, being undefeated. They'll be the second undefeated team. They'll move up to number two seed in the country. LSU beats Georgia to get into the playoff, which means LSU will slide in to number 3, right? Just like that. And then Georgia, they won't keep Georgia out because it'll come down between Georgia and Notre Dame. All right? And Notre Dame's loss, I got Florida State, 10-2, beating Clemson in their conference championship game. So Clemson and Notre Dame will be the two odd teams out. Okay? So I've got Michigan number 1 playing Georgia number 4. I've got Texas number 2 playing LSU number 3. I've got Michigan getting over the hump, literally,
what?
David.
Wow.
Beating Georgia, that's right.
Winning the national championship?
That's right. They're playing LSU, who beats Texas.
Okay.
Surprises a lot of people, beats Texas, and Heisman winner Quinn Ewers. There's my Heisman pick. And then I got Michigan, David, beating LSU.
For the Natty.
For the Natty.
Wow.
Big Ten team wins
wow.
the Natty.
Congrats, David.
Yeah.
Congrats,
man.
No, we
Y'all did it.
You guys did it.
Y'all did it,
You
dog.
guys did it. That's what I have.
We'll make a bowl game this year, 6-6.
Notre Dame's going to be
yeah.
pissed. Clemson will be pissed, but don't lose to Florida
So
State.
you bought in. You bought into the boys
I'm all
in blue.
in. My chip right here. I'm all in.
You're coming
What's
over
up?
every Saturday.
Chris
Bring
Whitemaker.
up Blaine's. No, I want to go last.
You want to go last?
go
All right,
last.
bring your boys up. Here we go. Georgia. Clean sweep, number 1.
Okay.
Hey, the
Okay.
Michigan Wolverines.
Hold on. So they go to the SEC championship.
Georgia's beating Bama in the
They beat
SEC
Bama in the
They
SEC
beat Bama in the
championship.
SEC championship, yes.
Okay, so one SEC team for you in the
Correct. You're correct,
number 1
Governor.
overall seed.
Yes. Michigan, numero 2. All right, remember they did drop a game at Penn State. Late game, field goal, wide out, tough environment to play in. Other than that, they walk everybody, including Ohio State. Texas and the boys, Sark,
Wow, you got Texas there too.
coming in at 3.
Okay.
Yeah, coming in at 3. Their one loss at Bama. All right, it's their one loss. I think they roll everybody else. Then USC coming in at 4. Lincoln made it to the playoffs. It's a good year. They lose out to Oregon. Caleb Williams is going to be my Heisman winner back-to-back. He's on his Drake stuff. All right, then I got Georgia versus Michigan in the Natty. Okay? You know where we're going with this, Coney. Come on now, baby. The winner is Them Bulldogs. They did it again. The three-peat. Carson Beck, long face and the boys. New quarterback, new OC. But that roster from top to bottom is stacked, boys.
Top to tail.
Kirby, congrats, man. Living a legacy.
Wow.
There it is.
Your Heisman winner's Caleb Williams?
Caleb Williams is paints his nails and can throw the football.
What do you have Notre Dame going?
9-3.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, bring up my graphic. Here's my college football playoff prediction, boys. Georgia runs through the East, undefeated, makes to the conference championship. Michigan runs through the Big Ten East, makes it to the conference championship. I think the way that the greatness of those teams combined with the lackluster schedules a little bit, clean sweep to the conference championship. But I have Michigan winning the Big Ten, remaining undefeated. Georgia drops the conference championship game to LSU.
Yeah, that's the same.
LSU makes it to the conference championship game, 11-1, losing on the road to Alabama in Tuscaloosa, but they beat Georgia in the Natty, so they move up to number 2. In the SEC championship, sorry. They move up to number 2. Michigan moves up to number 1, which puts Georgia at 4, but they still make the college football playoff because I have Notre Dame going 10-2, Clemson with 2 losses, and Florida State with 2 losses.
Okay.
And then I have Washington sliding into that number 3 spot, 11-1, going into the Pac-12 championship game with their only loss on the road at USC. Then I have them beating Utah in the Pac-12 championship to end at 12-1. So that's Michigan 1 seed, LSU 2 seed, Washington 3 seed, and Georgia in the 4. The interesting question is, where will these teams face off? I think Michigan would probably choose as the 1 seed to play in the Rose Bowl, which would put LSU and Washington in the Sugar Bowl, LSU playing in their backyard. Can you bring up the music, Trey? Let's bring up some motivational music because I have Michigan beating Georgia in the semifinal to go to the national championship.
To play.
I wonder where this is going.
And then I have LSU beating Washington in their semifinal, probably the Sugar Bowl, to go to the national championship. And now we're in a Michigan LSU natty, boys.
Oh, David.
It's not every year. It's not every year that your alma mater has a legitimate chance to win the national championship.
Make that face at him.
Forget any year. It's never, really. So this year, I'm going to have to take the Michigan Wolverines to beat LSU in the national championship. Let's go. Jim Harbaugh, suspended first 3 games. The bad guys are out to get us. Our back's against the wall. There's a chip on our shoulder. Let's circle the wagons for head ball coach one time, and let's figure it out. And let's don't blow it. There's no TCU on the schedule this year. Let's don't blow it. Michigan, national champions, undefeated.
Me and you have the exact same thing, except I have Texas where Washington is. Basically,
That's
the same
right.
thing.
I have Washington. So you have Texas in there. They go up to the 3 seed.
Texas is the 2. So I got Texas at the 2, LSU at the, Georgia at the 4. Bring mine back up. I've got Georgia at the 4, like you do, Michigan at the 1, Texas at the 2, LSU at the 3.
That's because you have Texas undefeated. That's right.
I have Texas undefeated.
And see, it could just as easily be Washington at the 2 seed in mine. Who
knows?
But I just have a
wonky
feeling
at the
if
end.
LSU's only losses to Alabama and they beat the number 1 team in the country, Georgia, in the SEC championship game, they'd probably go to the 2 seed, but it wouldn't matter because I have the same thing as you were. Michigan and then Georgia would drop to the 4 and they'd play each other probably in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, we want to know who's your national champion. Who do you got finishing where in the SEC? Who's your Heisman winner, Dave?
Okay, so here's my Heisman candidates, the guys getting invited to New York. Jaden Daniels, LSU.
Agree.
Michael Penix Jr., Washington, especially if this shakes out and they both make the college football playoff. I think Caleb Williams does get invited again, but doesn't win back-to-back. We've only seen Archie Griffin with the Buckeyes do that. Blake Corum, 1,500 yards rushing at Michigan last year, got injured. He chose to return. If Michigan does go to the college football playoff again, he'll be a big part of that. I have him as a Heisman Trophy candidate, or I should say finalist.
Yeah.
And then the winner, Drake May, quarterback, North Carolina. Drake May winning the award.
Because you got North Carolina going 10-2, right?
Yes, I do.
I do too. I got Quinn Ewers winning.
But not playing in the conference championship.
Yeah,
Clemson,
man.
Florida State for me.
Woo, that was...
Well done, fellas.
Yeah,
Not an easy
well
feat.
done. All right, let's get to it. What are they saying over
Let's go to King Infamous with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, brother. It says, what's your prediction on Ole Miss if they beat 2 of 3, UGA, LSU, or Alabama?
If Ole Miss beats 2 of 3, UGA, LSU, or Alabama. Hold on, let me pull this out right here. I've got them losing to Bama, LSU, and UGA. If they beat, let's say they beat Bama and LSU. Let's just say that. If that happens, then I got them going 9-1. 3 still. That game at Mississippi State at the end,
Yeah.
it's going to be tough.
Egg Bowl
Like I said,
always
at
is.
Georgia, at Auburn. There's just something about Ole Miss coming to Auburn, man.
Weird games.
It's a weird game.
Auburn always
They struggle to win, but look, if Ole Miss is good enough to beat Bama and LSU back to back, beat Bama on the road, they're good enough to beat Auburn on the road, and in that case, they're going to beat Mississippi State on the road. I'll tell you this: if Ole Miss beats Bama and LSU, they may go 11-1 and play in this championship game, which has never happened. Ole Miss has never won the West, never won it.
Let's go to Arthur Coleman with
wild.
a $10 donation. Appreciate it, Arthur. He says, "Don't yell, jinx my Tigers, a-holes."
Don't yell, Jinx.
Yeah, I think he's a LSU fan.
Yeah. Look, I gassed up LSU last year and they won the West, so you ought to be thanking
The stepdad.
Yeah, Brian Kelly, the stepdad you never knew you needed, but until you were walking across graduating cum laude at Columbia Law.
I think it's just funny that we all have LSU losing that game on the road at Alabama because that was one I almost had them winning and dropping a game somewhere else.
Dude, I went back and forth. That LSU Florida State game, I mean, just starting off the bat, just like, it's like, get out of my head.
But even if they drop that, even if LSU,
drop
especially
it.
with Mason Smith out this week, which I like, guys, the NCAA is really just climbing all over my lawn these days, and
They need to get off of it.
Yeah,
I think you should scream
being
at 'em even
suspended.
more.
One of the best college football players being suspended for one of the biggest college football openers we've seen because he signed some autographs a week.
Imagine
before,
not being able
the
to
day
play.
before.
Like they did the same thing to Todd Gurley. Really? Remember that? Did the same thing to AJ Green. Imagine being penalized for signing your name.
It's a racket, man. They want their cut.
Like it's
right? But
the
anyway,
mob, man.
I'll get off
It's
that.
the mob.
Let's say
It's
LSU
wild.
loses that opener at Florida State, which they could, man. Florida State, they're going to be a great football team this year. Still, I mean, you have to like them. They get Arkansas at home. They do go on the road to Ole Miss, but they get Auburn at home. You have to like them going into that road game at Bama.
I'm going to catch hell about the Auburn prediction in the Iron Bowl, which at the end of the day, if you've ever watched the Iron Bowl, they almost won in Brian Harson's first year at home with TJ Finley, who can't even win the job at Texas State at quarterback. Jordan, if you've ever been to Jordan-Hare,
It's weird at Jordan-Hare.
It's just weird. But when you look at Auburn's schedule, UMass, dub. At Cal, should be a dub.
Yeah.
Sanford at home, dub. I got them losing A&M, Georgia, LSU all back-to-back.
Me too.
Sweeping the Mississippi schools at home, which I can understand. If they lost both of them, I wouldn't be shocked.
I have a Mississippi State loss.
Yeah, then I got them winning at Vandy, losing at Arkansas, beating New Mexico State at home, and then beating Alabama at home to get to that 8-4. I was going to go 7-5. It was going to come down that Iron Bowl game. But again, Jordan-Hare, man, weird things happens. Year one, coach. Year ends in a 3. Last time that happened, Auburn lost to
and
Florida
there's
State
only a
Matic.
certain amount of coaches out there that know how to beat who?
Nick Saban.
And one of them is
Hugh Freeze.
Him freeze.
Yes.
Freeze.
Let's go to Dan Parr, something I could never make on a golf course. $5 donation. Says the LSU's D won't be able to stop UGA's offense. Dogs will get the dub easy by 21.
Woo! I mean, look,
Speak it, brother.
LSU's got some cats running around on defense. I just know we got to think about this too. LSU played Georgia last year in the SEC championship. So it's familiar territory for them. And Georgia overwhelmed them last year. Jaden Daniels got beat up. But another thing about LSU, do not forget, little ace in the hole, little caveat, they've got one of the best backup quarterbacks in the country in Nussmeier as well. So if something were to happen to Jaden Daniels, season isn't over, London Bridge isn't falling down, let's pull our pants up and get back to work.
Yeah, I want both of you to know that both your wives are pissed at you.
Oh yeah, I'm getting blown up on the text message over here.
I'm afraid to look at my phone.
I'm not allowed to
What
go
did
home
Reed say?
tonight.
Well, they said a lot.
They said a lot.
Darby
That's
Lou
a bad
says
start.
if it's Michigan, Alabama, it's fine. He went there. It makes sense. I have no idea when he became such an Auburn homer.
Well, look, y'all are just overtly biased.
So
It's okay. That's all right.
Oh,
Fans
man.
are fanatical. You still gonna have those pumpkin spice biscuits ready though?
Hey, I'm still waiting on them chicken parm sliders.
They're
Dog.
cutting you off from the food. Good
Wait,
luck,
what?
boys.
Hold on, whoa,
No, they're
what?
not.
What?
Not me though, right?
Okay.
I don't know.
Not
We'll
me
see.
though, right?
I'll wield some power too.
No, I got
I'll
it.
wield some power too.
No?
Let me change mine real quick. Alabama.
no, too late,
Alabama
man.
actually,
goes
wait.
19 and
too
0.
late. Too late.
Wait,
Alabama.
hold on.
Too
That
late.
9 was actually an 11.
Yeah, too
I
late.
can't believe I got that wrong.
All right, let's go to Chance. $5 donation. Appreciate it, Chance. Says if A&M has success, 9 or more wins, Bobby P is probably out for a head coaching job. Would you be positive heading into 2024 with salamander-faced Dan Mullen at OC?
Salamander face? Why y'all do Dan Mullen like that, man?
It does look like he's about to start reading a Geico commercial every time I see him.
Right.
Here's what I'll say. I think with Petrino, you're to the point now. He was just the head coach, right, at a legitimate FCS place, right? Like coming over to be it was going to be the OC out there with Barry Odom. Now he's going to be the OC at Texas A&M. Here's what I think. I don't know if there's going to be a ton of movement after this year. If West Virginia doesn't win and they fire Neil Brown, or Tom Allen doesn't win and they fire him in Indiana, I don't think Bobby P. Maybe West Virginia. I could see West Virginia more than Indiana. But if you're Bobby Petrino and A&M does have success this year, and you're getting courted for smaller head coaching gigs, would you not wait around with the talent that you have returning in 2024 up front,
Florida,
with Wegman returning, with young guys out front or out wide, and wait for that bigger job?
Florida?
You know, you could have stayed and had smaller coach. You could have kept winning where you were at and getting one of these smaller, like, what are you going to do? Go take the UL Monroe job?
I think it depends on how the relationship with Jimbo Fisher will go, because you know Bobby Petrino.
No, it's all predicated on that.
Can you spend 2 years getting told what to do?
How patient are you? But I do think if Bobby Petrino, let's say, chance to answer your question, does take another job, and the relationship is good, I think it makes it way more attractive, because I think some offensive coordinators, as crazy as the money is, legitimate guys, we're nervous about going to work for for Jimbo Fisher, because Jimbo Fisher, letting Jesus take the wheel a little bit, right? Taking his hands off it, apparently. And we've talked about how play calling really works. Some people don't really understand it's more of a team effort than what people think. But I think if Bobby Petrino is allowed to do his thing, which I think he will, because he's got that Kevin Steele cachet that Kevin's going to have at Bama as DC, it'll make it more attractive for a Dan Mullen to say, you know what? Maybe Jimbo is okay to work for as an offensive coordinator. Look what just happened with Bobby Petrino. Yes, I'll go be your OC, because now I've seen it happen. I think other big-time OCs need to see it happen a little bit before they jump on the train. If that does happen, I think it'll make it a little bit easier, and it makes Jimbo Fisher look like a genius.
Yep, and I think we're going to find out early, too, because you go on the road to Miami, and keep in mind, boys, that's Mario Cristobal down there. Year 2, they are returning Tyler Van Dyke. That team has a lot to prove, and it's not going to be this situation of, Bobby Petrino wants to have this call on 3rd and 7, and Jimbo Fisher wants to have this call, and they argue about it. He said, it's not going to be that clean. What you're going to see maybe is a spillover from any disagreements in fall camp. Yes. Oh, I thought this guy should be the starting quarterback. That's the biggest thing. That guy should be the starting quarterback.
That's exactly
maybe Jimbo Fisher had to pull rank. That's the kind of thing you may see if that game's tight down there in Dade County.
Yeah, and the only, you have a better chance of Bobby and Jimbo getting upset about not one person wanting to go for it on 4th and 1 and the other person not, then the actual play
that
call.
Too. I didn't think about that.
The in-game or clock management type stuff, that's where you kind of get the headbutt. But David, you're exactly right, 100% correct on that.
Let's go to Justin Polk. He says, with the success that's projected for Texas this year, how do they perform once they get in the SEC? Do you see a drop-off, or do you see them keeping it steady?
Who's that?
That is Justin.
I think Texas is.
Texas.
Yeah, when they get in the SEC, it's going to be what every other SEC team is. There's going to be an ebb and a flow. You're going to have up years. You're going to have down years. I don't think they're going to come in and run the conference. I don't think they're going to come in and be terrible. I think it's going to be about in the middle. I think Oklahoma and them are going to have that in common. And the common misconception about the SEC is that it's top heavy. It's not. If you know ball, you know that it's not. Ask any coach out there. Any coach will tell you that. If you know any coach, ask them. If they're being honest, they will tell you that. It's not just about beating Alabama or Georgia or LSU. It's the gauntlet of having to go to Mississippi State, to Kentucky. Hell, even Vandy's better than they have been in a while, even though we got them going 0-8 in the conference. It's you don't really have a week off. And that's not saying that the SEC, every team the SEC has is better than every other team that every other conference has. But in aggregate, from top to bottom, right, the SEC is more of a gauntlet than any other conference. It's because it's up front. That's why, and here's what I say, David. Here's what I say. You think that NFL scouts are biased? So if you think that the SEC is top-heavy, then you think that the NFL scouts are biased. You think the NFL scouts, whose job it is, who go look from every school from St. Francis to Alabama, that you're saying that they're biased because the SEC dominates the draft. So if you're going to say that the SEC is top-heavy, then you are saying that all the NFL scouts do not know what the hell they're talking about and you know better. And that would make you wrong.
This may sound crazy based off the perception a lot of people have about Texas fans, but I think the Longhorns could actually come into the conference more humble than some other schools, than a school like Oklahoma, because they've been humbled over the last 10 years. We talked about it yesterday. Texas hasn't won double-digit games since 2009. Alabama's won double-digit games every year since then, whereas Oklahoma has been running that conference for the last 10 years. Talking about every week being a gauntlet and you could lose every game you play in a given week in the SEC. Texas has been experiencing that in the Big 12 for 10 years.
For sure.
Right? So to come into the SEC, I think they understand, like, hey, this is not going to be any walk in the park, and that's why this year is so critical, because you do have third year with Steve Sarkisian. You do have the quarterback you wanted who transferred in from Ohio. To leave the Big 12 in your final year as the Big 12 champion, to gain some momentum before you come into the SEC, not just on the recruiting trail, but just from a mindset perspective, how big would that be for Texas?
Oh, it would be absolutely huge. And remember, we have calls, 1-855-236-3228. I'd go ahead and call in right now because I can feel the lines burning as we speak. Also, hit that subscribe button. We're almost to 100,000.
Yeah.
If you like this content, make sure you hit that sub button. Make sure you hit that like button. I can feel the chat going crazy right now, so let's get back to it.
Let's go to Mike and him. He says, don't be surprised if the Razorbacks have the best season under the Pittman era. Double-digit wins possible based on scheduling.
Double-digit wins to me is a stretch. I've got Arkansas going 9-3. Now, if everything works out perfect and the new tackles work out, you did have that big wide receiver injury. I'm interested to see how the guys out wide look. I know they hopped in the portal and grabbed some guys. One of the best backfield tandems in the country. I don't think anybody can deny that. So if you're telling me Arkansas is going to win 10 games, let me get out the notebook of truth, justice, and friendship here. So that means you basically have Arkansas winning all the games that I said and splitting at Ole Miss and Bama, right? Because I don't think they're beating LSU at LSU. I don't think you think they're beating LSU at LSU.
No.
All right, but you have at Ole Miss and at Bama. My three losses at LSU, at Ole Miss, and at Bama. So you're saying if Arkansas beats, let's say Ole Miss, I think there's a better chance of them beating Ole Miss on the road than beating Alabama on the road. In my prediction, that gets them to 10-2. That gets them to 6-2 in the West, which would put them still in third place because I'd have them losing to Bama and they'd have an identical record.
What did Vegas have them at?
You talking about their win totals?
7.
Flat.
7
flat.
No hook.
7 flat.
Like a perfect Neverland. No hook.
So I guess in my scenario they could, because I do have them going on the road and beating Alabama, which may shock some people, but then turn around and lose on the road at Florida, which is also a shocker. So in my scenario, if you say, hey, look, Arkansas is just better than Florida. KJ Jefferson is he's one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. They're not going to lose on the road at Florida this year. It's just not going to happen. Then in my scenario, you would have 10-2 if they can go on the road and beat Alabama.
There's a couple things working against Arkansas. I brought up the offensive line, right? I brought up the secondary and the depth on defense. But there's a couple things working in their favor. Sam Pittman is an offensive line guru. Right now, he is the head coach. But if anybody can help steer that ship along and get those guys ready, it's Sam Pittman. Okay, the second thing, Dan Enos, new offensive coordinator coming over from Maryland. Going to be a little bit of a different book than what has been going out with Kendall Briles. Love Kendall, right? Excited to see him at TCU. But I really believe that offense will be a little bit harder for people to adjust to because I think they're going to take care of KJ a little bit more. KJ's health, just like every starting quarterback's health, is intricate in Arkansas having success. And it's not just limiting design runs. Now, what Sam Pittman said when we interviewed him at SEC Media Day, it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. It's 3rd and goal, 4th and goal. You got to put the ball in your best player's hands.
Yeah.
That's 100% correct. But having a guy like Rocket Sanders, right, that you can lean on, but KJ Jefferson's got to be careful with his body too during the scramble drills. You can't just go ninja. People don't need no ninja. All right, because all of a sudden you go a Judy chop into the kung fu kick and there goes your leg.
There goes your leg.
All right, so KJ's got to be smart when he takes off as well, and you also need to be smart when you're grilling during tailgating season and in general, because there's nothing like grilling burgers while you're watching your favorite team with the boys. Now imagine if you went to turn on the grill and your propane tank's empty. Oh, David!
No, it never.
It's empty. That's where our friends at Cinch come in. Cinch is a propane grill tank home delivery service. They deliver propane tanks right to your door on your schedule and do not require any long-term commitment or subscription. I've been fighting back a sneeze this whole ad read.
Hey, let it go.
I look at adversity and laugh.
Let it go, man.
Plus, delivery is completely contactless. You don't have to wait around at home. You can track the order on your Cinch app. David, describe Cinch in one word.
Perfection.
Blaine.
America.
Reliable.
That's
I'll keep
exactly
going.
right. That's exactly right. I have a gas grill. Cinch, don't even
do.
have to worry about it, right? Show up to my house,
Get your glow up.
get my glow up,
Yeah.
make sure it don't blow
Blow
up.
up.
And it never does with Cinch. That, like I said, the perfect summer night wouldn't be complete without Cinch. So go to cinch.com. That's CYNCH.com, or download the Cinch app. Use our promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, to get your first tank exchange for just $10, or like €8. That's cinch.com, promo code BOOSTER. This is a limited time offer. You must live within a Cinch area to redeem it. So if you don't, it's probably time you move. Football season's literally coming tomorrow. You don't have a lot of time. So visit cinch.com, use that promo code, cinch.com/offer for details. All right, we got calls coming up here. David, you let me know when you're ready over there on that, but let's get back to the Booster Club right now.
Go to Texas Ed with the $5 donation. Appreciate it, Eddie. If Texas plays Georgia in the CFP, Texas wins. Wouldn't be the first time they stopped a three-peat. Nebraska 96, USC 05.
Yeah. I mean, I got Texas playing LSU, and I think Texas will be a favorite in that game, being undefeated with the Heisman winner Quinn Ewers against LSU, coming up that big win against Georgia, maybe 1.5, 2.5 point favorite, but I got LSU winning that game to play Michigan in the Natty.
Let's go to formerly Darth with the $5 donation. Appreciate it, buddy. Boys, what happened to Michigan the last time they were top 5 in the AP poll? Hint, 2007. All kidding aside, you guys are the best. Love the show.
Ultimate Darth, you are too. I know you're just joking around, but like, I always laugh because they're like, hey, you remember what happened when they were ranked here in 2004? Like, that has any bearing on this team. Like, all of a sudden, it's going to be 3rd and 6 on a huge 3rd down, or 4th and 6, and the quarterback's going to be like, oh my God. Do you remember what happened in 1994?
There is a serious question, though, to ask about the postseason and the end of season when it comes to Jim Harbaugh.
There is.
I mean, there's a legitimate, people can make legitimate comments about the fact that he hasn't been able to get over that hump, and, you know, to be able to project then not only a college football playoff victory, but then a national championship victory. Look, it's going to take a lot.
People said the same thing about Georgia and Alabama and Kirby.
They did, and he finally got over that hump.
It's crazy until it happens.
Did you see, though, the news that broke last night on who Jim Harbaugh is naming to be the acting head coach in his absence for the 3-game suspension?
Is great.
Every game he's named a different associate head coach from the position groups, and even one of the games he has, in one half Mike Hart's going to be the head coach, and then the second half someone else is going to be the head coach, and then his father, Jack Harbaugh, is going to be the associate head coach for all 3 of those games.
That's so cool.
At first, I thought, can we not do anything normal? Do we have to be
No, this
weird
is
on
so
everything?
cool, David.
But then, and too, I was like, don't just assume these get, like he's talking about. 2007, I was on that team that lost to App State.
It's like, hey, Dad, you remember the time you blew it
to be the
for
head
me?
coach?
Yeah.
But I thought about it for a minute, and I thought, not only is it a serious troll to the NCAA, but it's not a troll to me to the opponents they're playing, like ECU and Bowling Green and those teams. What it is he's giving an opportunity to guys who are going to go be future head coaches. Now, the different head coaches within the same game on different halves, I don't like that so much, but he's given Mike Hart an opportunity to be the head coach at Michigan for a half of football. And I think that just says the type of guy Jim Harbaugh is.
I love this, and I like in the preseason some of these NFL coaches giving other guys.
Mike Vrabel did that here
as well.
Mike Vrabel did that here. That was really cool.
I think the dad angle's so cool.
It is.
Like, that's so cool. And it is a troll to the NCAA. But I tell you what, talk about making chicken salad out of chicken. You know what? This is that. Harbaugh's a weird cat.
Mm-hmm.
Does he wear rollerblades and shorts? You know, does he wear cleats inside with khaki shorts and no shirt? Yeah. But you know what?
You can win.
You're a Michigan fan. He's your weirdo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like my brother. It's like my brother. I'll make fun of him all day. Okay? All right? But you make fun of him, we got a problem.
I love it.
All right? Because he's my brother.
Look at that mustache.
All right, let's go to John Edward of Clegg. South Carolina better than 5-7. We have overachieved since Shane has been our coach since he got
Love Shane. Love Shane. Last year, I picked South Carolina to go 5-7, and really, honestly, they should have. At the end of the year, they beat Tennessee. Hendon Hooker gets hurt, even though they were killing them before that. That wasn't the reason they won that game. Then they beat Clemson, right? That doesn't happen. I'm right on the money with my pick. But when I look at this schedule and I look at South Carolina up front, okay? And look, the games that I'm worried about being wrong with South Carolina is North Carolina, and either Kentucky or Mississippi State. I don't think they're going to beat A&M at A&M. I don't think they're going to beat Tennessee at Tennessee. I don't think they're going to beat Georgia at Georgia. I don't think they're going to beat Clemson at home the last game because they beat them last year at Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
And Dabo, they'll sit around in a circle and have a seance about that stuff.
It's a cult over there.
Yeah, so the North Carolina game it's a toss-up.
Yeah, it is.
It's a toss-up. Kind of like the Florida State LSU game's a toss-up.
Yep.
But I do think North Carolina's going to be a little bit better on defense. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to Hulk smash the over because I don't think either one of these teams is very good up front. I don't trust South Carolina's offensive line. They lost their left tackle for the year during spring. That was their anchor, and Spencer Rattler's a really good player. I think, but it has to be more than Spencer Rattler, right? You lost Jaheim Bell, right? You've had some injuries during fall camp, and everybody's beat up. Shane Beamer is going to be a lifer at South Carolina. He's a fantastic coach, and this will probably be the last year I ever take South Carolina to go 5-7 with the way they're recruiting. But I got them going 5-7.
Here's the thing, though, for South Carolina. You're playing an SEC East schedule, which means you already have Georgia, Tennessee, and Kentucky, 2 of those 3 on the road.
Yep.
2 of your crossover games from the West at Texas A&M in a year when Jimbo Fisher really needs it.
Yep.
And then Mississippi State. I have South Carolina winning that game, but still, Mississippi State can come in and beat anyone in the conference. And then 2 of your non-conference games are 2 of the best that ACC has to offer in Clemson and North Carolina. Like, that's tough, man.
It is tough. Not a walk in the tulips. All right, you want to get to calls?
Let's do it. All right, let's go to Jessup first. I want Jessup in South Carolina. We're talking about South Carolina. Maybe Jessup has something to offer. What's going on, man?
Smells like Tennessee.
Hey, what's up, boys?
What's going
What's
on?
up, buddy?
All right. I'm not mad, but I am disappointed.
Here we go.
Okay.
Tennessee losing to Kentucky?
Yeah. On the road. Here's why. Why. Who do they play the week before them?
At Alabama.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, it
does.
At Alabama.
It matters because that's going to be Tennessee beat Alabama last year. That's going to be a war, an absolute war in T-Town. And Tennessee can play really good. It's going to be really physical. Then you go to Kentucky, who's going to be better on the offensive line. You just brought Liam Cohen back, who helped put the band together on offense. They got Devin Leary, who I think is underrated this year after being overrated last year, but NC State was overrated as a team. You're going to have a top 25 defense at Kentucky. You can go and write that down with Mark Stoops. And there's no way that the offensive line is as bad. So I don't think it's going to be by a wide margin, but I think that's one of those games where Joe Milton struggles a little bit. Got y'all starting off 6-0, which, I mean, if you look at the schedule, Virginia, they're trash can. UTSA is going to be tough.
UTSA will be
UTSA and South Carolina back-to-back is going to be tough. But, I mean, 9-3, would you take 9-3 right now?
Right now, probably. But I think one hinge player that I know we talk a lot about, Joe Milton, is also Tennessee's defense. Michael's done some really good recruiting on the defensive side of the ball to where, I mean, I know with the up-tempo offense, probably have to have basically 2 starting lineups. But I think they're getting close to that point on the defensive side of the ball.
I'm with you. Jessup, I'm with you. And I actually talked about this with Blaine Gilmer on Southeastern 14 last night. And in that, I think one of the things we don't talk about with Tennessee enough, because everybody's obviously focusing on Joe Milton. I get that. Yeah. They focus on the warp drive offense, as I call it. I get that. But Tennessee has built depth up front on both sides of the ball. I think, because that's how you bridge the gap. Listen, I don't care if you run the triple option the way Navy runs it. I don't care if you run the air raid the way that Mike Leach ran it or the style of offense that Josh Heupel runs. The only way you're going to bridge the gap and become a legitimate national championship contender, which is what Tennessee fans expect, it's got to happen up front, regardless of the system. That's where the game's won and lost, from Friday night Tykes to Monday night football. That's where the game of football is won and lost. It's up front. I think Tennessee's made a big jump there. I look at schedule. I look at who you play before. I think this is one of those games where Tennessee goes 3 and out a decent amount, and that defense is on the field the whole game after a physical game against Bama. I like Kentucky close.
And Jessup, keep in mind, Tennessee's in a little bit different situation at quarterback than, say, the Buckeyes or Georgia or Alabama, who are just starting completely new quarterbacks. I mean, Joe Milton, this is the 3rd time he's been named a starting quarterback in college. We have a sample size from him at Michigan. We have a sample size from him starting at Tennessee before Hendon Hooker came in and took that job. Now, I happen to be one of the people who thinks Joe Milton has progressed, not only in this offseason, but we saw him in the bowl game last year.
Me too. I'm with you.
This could be a 12-0 team or a 7-5 team, a lot depending on how he plays. But if you do go 9-3, which you just said you would even take right now, and then you go play in a bowl game and win it like you did last year, that's a 10-win Tennessee team, back-to-back seasons for the first time in, I think, 20 years, something like that. That's serious momentum,
and serious relevance.
Yes.
That's what it is, Jessup. Yeah. But great call, man. Great to hear from you.
All right, y'all too. Have a good one.
Appreciate it, buddy.
See ya.
All right, let's go to Anthony in Clarksville. Anthony, what's up, man?
Guys, I got a little bit devastating news last night. Oh, there's 2 Eagles, by the way. But
what's up, man?
So last night we got back from football practice from my boys, and they pushed practice back a little later because it's been pretty hot. So we didn't get home till close to 9:00, and I'm making my boys some eggs and toast before I send them off to bed, and they're sitting at the table, and I decide to, we've been getting fired up for football big time. So I'm watching 2004 Auburn highlights.
Oh, yes.
And my son, my 10-year-old, my second oldest, he's loving it and everything. But I made the mistake of watching the Alabama-Tennessee game last year when he was around because he got so fired up from that game because it was an awesome game. Such a fun game to watch. And so now he's like, well, I don't know if I like Auburn or Tennessee. And it just ripped my heart.
Well, there's always one. There's always one.
Look, there's got to be the black sheep, right?
There's always one.
I'll say this. I've always found it better because, look, we know I'm not going to give my son a choice. Like, you're a better man.
No, yeah, you're an Auburn.
My son has no choice. Well, I say that. My wife's an Alabama fan. That's going to be Anthony. You just brought up something. I don't.
Yeah,
that's related. That's an argument
right there
for
behind
day.
You, boy. House divided. Man.
That's an argument for a later.
Look, no, I told Reed the girls can be Alabama fans. The boys will be Auburn fans.
No,
like if that's on the crest. I'll paint my face blue and run around the house. Like, you don't understand.
Apocalypse.
I thought you did that already.
Yeah, no, that's outside.
Diet.
That's outside.
Without getting too Maoist on him, I pretty much told him that. I was like, hey, it's okay to like other teams.
Yeah.
I liked the Tennessee team last year, but I'm not a Tennessee fan. Yeah,
for sure.
I had to explain it to him. I'm like,
do you like sleeping in this house?
For me, but you can enjoy watching other teams. I'm really looking forward to see what Dion does in Colorado this year. So I'll probably be watching some Colorado. So.
Looking's for free. Touching's going to cost you.
Yeah, at least he's a fan of football, man. That's a win already.
That is a win already.
That is a win already. But, man, Anthony, thanks, buddy. Enjoy your football watching this weekend.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Tell the boys what's up. What's up?
See ya. All right, Kirk in Canada.
Skyhook.
Kirk alert. What's up, man?
Hey, boys.
What's up, Kirk?
Hey.
Oh, I am so excited for you guys. You're the biggest college football fans I know, and you guys must be just happier than a pig in slop today.
Oh, dude, I'm like the girl from The Sound of Music. I just want to go on a mountain and start spinning around.
I'd watch.
I would.
Oh, you don't know how disappointed I was when I read the rules to your little contest, and I realized I don't qualify because I live in Canada. Oh man!
What? I'm gonna have a conversation with someone.
Yeah, I thought it was international rules.
Yeah.
What's
the rules and regs?
It says got to be live in one of the 50 states. And
Kirk, you're an honorary Alabamian.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
There it is. Anybody can get skyhooked out of there.
I was just going to say I might be calling for that skyhook because our Prime Minister, he is off the charts.
Well, look, I know the guy that runs the vacuum shop in town, so we can just go and get you a brand new identity, just put you in the van after the skyhook.
My question was about NFL coaches and their salaries. Do you guys know that, you guys might already know this, that Sean Payton's coming in as the second highest paid coach in the NFL this year?
They had to grab him out of the booth, man.
That's what happens when you win a Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, they had to grab him out of the booth. You want to be resurrected? You want to rise like a phoenix from the ashes? It's going to cost you, bro.
2 things I wanted to comment on. Number one, you guys, I'm sure already know that Bill Belichick's the highest paid. And by the way, I am a Patriots fan and was before they drafted Tom Brady.
Yeah.
But do you know why Bill Belichick is always the highest paid coach in the league, bar none?
Does he have the clause in his contract like Saban where if somebody gets paid more than him, he automatically gets an escalator that's higher?
Ding, ding. That's exactly right. He's also
and they're
the
friends.
GM of
Imagine
the team.
that.
Yeah, imagine. I wonder who gave Nick
Bill
that
and Nick
idea.
are friends.
Bill's like, hey, listen, I just emailed you the contract. Look at clause 9. I just invented it.
And they said yes.
It's like, wow, you know, I
Yeah,
came
he
up with
doesn't.
that.
Bill doesn't mind if another coach gets a raise because that means he gets a raise. So
That's
pretty
true.
smart.
That's exactly
true.
right.
The GM. And I also want to, before I let you go, ask you your thoughts on Andy Reid not being in the top 5 of the NFL coaches. That blows my mind for salary.
What list was that?
Yeah,
for salary.
For salary. Look, I think Andy Reid, they probably pay him in milk and cookies. That's just the way I see it.
He just loves winning right now.
He
man.
does. I think
I'm
Andy
over here
Reid
just winning.
Andy Reid just seems like one of the coolest guys. Like he's one of the guys that like doesn't talk a lot until you're like alone with him, and then just probably is just hilarious.
Yeah, I'm so glad he got his guy. I mean, they were so close to winning Super Bowls with Donovan McNabb.
Has anybody ever seen Andy Reid and Craig Stadler in the same room?
I cannot say
good
that
point.
I have.
I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, I wonder if they've never seen him in the same room. Interesting. I want to see Andy Reid. So I saw him in that punt, pass, and kick when he was like that 6'3".
I saw that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, did you see the helmet?
Jesus.
Yeah, look, it was incredible. But Kirk, man, great to talk to you, brother.
Kirk. Congrats on Austin Matthews' extension.
Yes.
Too. Love to see it.
Oh yeah, we'll talk
man.
about that one.
I can't wait to see y'all get bounced in the second round.
All right, I want to go to David. Oh, yeah. See you, Kirk. Thanks, man. I want to go to David in Tampa. He said he wants to talk about egregious Florida predictions. Here we go.
David, yeah.
David, what's going on, man?
The first one.
What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Off, I'm good. First off, though, it's Smoking Gator today. There is no dead naming on Flaming Dragon Friday.
My apologies.
True.
Tell them to put it in the prompter, and I'll read it because I'm like Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
It's all good. Okay, well, first off, I have to say, Flaming Dragon, welcome to Club 29.
Appreciate it, brother. Yes.
2-9 this year.
I'm walking into 2-9 with a torn
Last year in the 20s.
Yeah.
Last year in the 20s.
Gotta live it up.
You
gotta live it up.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll my way home after this.
Well, guys.
All right,
listen,
David.
All I wanted to do was talk about that burger that I made like Conan asked me on Wednesday, but like the bat signal summoning Batman, y'all are summoning me with those interesting Florida predictions.
Coming for justice.
Yeah, he is. Where's the commissioner?
So what do you have, man? How many?
What do you have Florida going, Dave? 10-2?
Oh no. Okay, no, I do not. I'm not that unrealistic. I don't think.
I know, David. I'm messing with you.
But here's what I think. Let me get our schedule real quick. So I have us going 7-5. So not great.
Okay.
But
we're the 7.
I do think we'll improve. So let's break this down.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, tell me your 7 wins.
Okay. Oh, just the 7 wins? Okay, so the 7 wins I have are McNeese, Tennessee, which would be an upset, but we also haven't lost to Tennessee at the Swamp in 20 years. And, Joe Milton is, like you guys said, he's fringe. It's not like Hendon Hooker when, even though Tennessee and, Hendon Hooker's first year starting, they weren't that great, but we at least knew how great Hendon Hooker was. Charlotte, I think, is an automatic win. Now, Kentucky, I will fully admit that I totally forgot that Kentucky has Devin Leary now.
Yep.
But I still got to go with my gut here, and I cannot see us losing to Kentucky 3 years in a row. I just don't see that happening. Right. Even though it is at Kentucky, I got to go with my gut here. I think we beat Kentucky. Vanderbilt, I know we lost them last year, but it's in Gainesville this time. We're not going to lose them 2 years in a row. That's not going to happen. Now, South Carolina, I think, or wait, you said you wanted wins, my bad. Then I think we beat Arkansas, and then I think we beat Missouri. So those are the 7 wins that I got.
And none of them are easy.
So then at South Carolina, you have a loss right now.
So at South Carolina, okay, so I did say at South Carolina, but I meant that I think that's going to be a loss. I do think we're going to lose to South Carolina because Spencer Rattler is literally the definition of hot and cold. And since that game is in Columbia this time, I think we'll get a hot Spencer Rattler. So I do think we'll lose to South Carolina this time.
The Tennessee, the right now, the Tennessee-Florida game, Florida has a 52% chance of winning that game.
Yeah.
Really? But who says that? FPI?
Yep.
Again,
yeah,
that's because it's in the swamp, though.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's been more wrong.
That's how much that matters down there. That's what I'm saying, and especially early in the season too. Like,
Joe Milton, you don't know?
Like, that's not crazy to me. The one at Kentucky gets me a little bit. I mean, just you're going on the road to play them there. They do have Devin Leary coming in. So you have Georgia. You have them losing to Georgia in the cocktail party, though, right?
Oh, dude, easily.
And you have at LSU lost, right?
Yep.
And then in-state rival Florida State. How do you have Florida State going?
I think Florida State will beat us. Florida State's got a better team than us. There's no shame in admitting that.
Yeah, I think your best. I think your best chance at flipping this thing is beating Arkansas, and not in this order. Is Arkansas at home, at South Carolina, and at Kentucky. I don't see you beating Utah. Like, if there's 3 wins I'm gonna find here, and that's 6-6. That's 6-6, and that's
y'all just don't have a quarterback,
4-4.
I don't have a quarterback.
Graham Mertz, man.
This is not the guy.
Sorry.
At least you can say that he does have experience, though.
Yeah,
that's
but
one thing you can say.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That is true. But
I mean, I'd rather have a great quarterback with no experience.
Yeah, what kind of experience does he have? Throwing the check down? Congrats.
I mean, it's not like Florida doesn't have like good personnel, good skill players.
They've got some, but they don't have typical Florida depth and
that Pearsall kid's nice as receiver.
They have a couple guys at receiver there, but outside of that, man, you did lose Justice Boone too as your pass rusher. But David, we'll see, man. That's the great part. Who the hell knows at the end of the day? And I hope for Billy they do get it turned around, because 2024, man, it doesn't get any easier.
Thanks for calling in, man. Thanks so much. We'll talk about burgers next time.
I'll see you in the chat,
We'll talk about hamburgers, and by the way, you're suspended.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Yeah. All right, let's go to John Luke in Gulfport, Mississippi.
Ooh.
Maybe get some Ole Miss action?
Can we get some
state,
shrimp?
maybe? John Luke, what's up?
Morning. What's up, fellas?
What's up, Johnny?
So, a couple of things. First, I wanted to ask y'all about Lane Kiffin. I'm a realist. He's always got that wandering eye. Do you think he's going to be here at the end of the season, or is he going to go on the coaching carousel?
Look, I mean, if they go 7-5, like I think, look, Lane Kiffin's always going to be a hot commodity at some places because he's such a lightning rod. But if I'm really starting to believe that Ole Miss actually said this when he got the job. I think it's almost a perfect fit, right? Lane can do what he wants at Ole Miss, right? Not saying he's doing anything nefarious, but if he wants to go hang out on the boat, he can go do that. If he wants to go hang out at in downtown Oxford or whatever, he can do that. He's king of the town. And Ole Miss is a place that does have expectations, obviously, that does have standards, but you can win 10 games once every 3 or 4 years, consistently win 8 games, and be there forever, right? Sneak up and beat Alabama every now and then. You see the way that NIL is working, and Ole Miss, I love what they're doing with Realtree. You see who they're partnering up with. I think it's a perfect fit. Lane's had the huge jobs. He was the youngest NFL head coach ever, right, with the Raiders. He's been at USC. He's been at Tennessee. He's been at these big brands. And what happened every single time? It didn't work out. He had to go to the Nick Saban Career Rehabilitation Center and Center for coaches who want to do other stuff good too, to be able to get back to now he's at a place, and I'm not saying Ole Miss is mid, or they're a middle of the tier place, but they're not USC. They're not Tennessee. He's not under this unbelievable microscope, and you can win there. Now, you can't win big at Ole Miss. He's not going to win a national championship at Ole Miss. It's going to take a lot to be able to. Again, how do we know that Lane Kiffin isn't just comfortable doing what he's doing right now? I don't think Lane is like Nick. I don't think Lane is like Kirby. Lane Kiffin doesn't recruit, really, if you really know what goes on. He's not in the trenches like these other guys are. Now, he'll go in there and talk to him, but ask anybody who's ever coached with him. I think Lane Kiffin wants to call plays. I think Lane Kiffin wants to have fun. I think Lane Kiffin wants to be at a place where once every 3 to 4 years, they expect you to win big, right? And maybe with the 12-team playoff now that we're going to, Ole Miss can sneak in there, right? So I think Lane is comfortable, right? I think, and I use the word content very easily here. Not that Lane doesn't want to win big, but I think Lane is comfortable where he is, and the pressure isn't as much as other places.
You don't think he can win a natty at Ole Miss?
I'm not saying it's impossible, but
when has Ole Miss won a natty?
I think if there's the perfect cocktail of the right players, the right defense, and Lane actually wanting to stick it out at Ole Miss, we can definitely do it. It's just how bad does he want to stick it out?
Yeah.
But every time he's been somewhere, he just ends up rotating every few years. You know what I mean?
And it seemed like last year would have been the time to jump ship when Auburn, the reports were Auburn seriously wanted him. And Auburn was one of those other types of schools where he could go and still be comfortable, but also you can win a national championship at Auburn. And he ended up turning it down, right, and staying. So
yeah, I think Lane's happy, man. I think his family's happy. Like, I think Lane, for the first time, honestly, as a head coach, is comfortable. Which, does that lead to him being as dangerous as he's ever been? Probably. I'm telling you, man, with this 12 team, I just watched TCU make it all the way to the national championship game.
Yeah.
We're going to a 12-team playoff. You just got to get in. Like, you get in and give yourself a chance. Lane Kiffin is good enough, game planning-wise, play calling-wise. The question is, will Ole Miss ever be good enough up front on both sides of the ball at the same time? That's the question for Ole Miss, John Luke.
That's true. All right, well, and then my second question. So we had this whole Bud Light controversy happening, so people don't want to drink that anymore. Is there anything you could see happening to college football? Because honestly, like a similar situation. Because I just can't see that happening. Because everyone, oh no, it's the end of college football whenever the BCS was ending. Then it became, oh, the college football playoff is going to ruin it. Now NIL is going to ruin it. What's it actually going to take?
No, I think it would have to be something along the lines of what Bud Light actually did. Like for college football to, I'm with Flamin' Dragon over here. The only way I think college football gets ruined is if an asteroid hits the earth. Yeah, like that's the only way. But if they started pushing some sort of sexual orientation narrative or something like overboard, maybe that would have an effect. But I'm going to be honest, like it's like getting me to rat. You're going to have to kill me.
I think what you're more likely to see, John Luke, is just these universities who do want to go with that sort of ideology that Jake's talking about, just sort of bow out of football. Maybe kind of like Stanford you're seeing. I mean, Stanford, what we were reading off the other day when Jim Harbaugh and David Shaw were coaching there, they won 10 games, like 6 or 7 years in a row, right? A serious football program. Beating USC every other year, had Andrew Luck. Now you kind of see Stanford is over there in the Pac-4 right now.
And they can afford to do it, though. Stanford can afford to do it.
That's what I'm saying. And so maybe their mindset is, you know what? We're good. Well, let's be a prestigious university. We're good at every other sport. We're good at the Olympic sports. We send athletes to the Olympics. We're not as concerned with football anymore. Whereas you could see the South like galvanize together and say like, no, we're going to stick together throh some sort of adversity.
Would you ever be concerned with Michigan?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. Like I talk about that all the time. Is like Michigan's in a little bit different spot in that they're the winningest college football program of all time, and they see how much revenue that brings in. Like that's the question universities are going to have to ask. I think
Michigan. Well, you know better than me. I'm not trying to tell you what. I just feel like Michigan loves it too much to let that happen.
You know, but then you hear reports.
I feel like they love it like we love it down here.
Like fewer people are going to the games these days, and the upper bowl of the Big House isn't getting sold out unless it's big game. Some of that could be scheduling, like we've talked about. So when you bring in USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington to the conference, you're going to have more big games more often. So let's see if that continues to be a problem. But yeah, it's something that I think about in a way that I don't think is going to be a problem at Alabama or even with a team like the Buckeyes or LSU or things like that.
Yeah.
You know?
John Luke, great stuff, man.
Great call.
Appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, man.
You too.
All right, how about John in Rock Hill, South Carolina? John, what's up, man?
Here we go.
Yep.
Hey, guys.
What's up?
Done for the weekend, tell you that much.
Yeah, me too. I've been waiting for a while.
Yeah, quick plug. I'm going to end up missing the games this weekend because, it's week 0, just kind of for me. But I'm actually going out of town, going to see my younger brother and my sister-in-law, so that'll be fun.
Cool.
Nice,
but
man,
what
nice.
I want to talk about was South Carolina and Jake picking 5-7. Like, I get. Look, I've got some of the same questions as some of the other people about, the running game and the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, I'll say this, as a South Carolina fan, there is no reason not to trust Shane Beamer because he has gotten the most out of this team the last 2 years, and I don't see any reason to doubt him, even with some of the questions we've got.
Yeah, here's what I'll say. Number one, I do trust Shane Beamer. Mm-hmm. I trust Shane Beamer in the long run. I think Shane Beamer is going to get a guy to get South Carolina. It's going to be tough to recreate what Spurrier did, winning those 33 games, whatever it was.
Win there
over 3 years. But you can win at South Carolina for sure. I think Shane Beamer is the guy, and I am not saying that Shane Beamer is not a good coach. Here's what I am saying. I think South Carolina is very close in the next couple years to having an offensive line and a defensive line that is good enough. Here's South Carolina's problem this year. The offensive line and the defensive line are going to be bad at the same time. And whether you play quarterback, whether you play linebacker, it is impossible, all right, or DB, honestly, it is impossible to dominate the way that South Carolina fans are ready to dominate with the personnel they have up front. So when I look at this schedule, and look, it could be anywhere. I think South Carolina could vary anywhere in between 5 and 7 to ceiling 8 and 4. Right? You could beat Kentucky at home. You could beat North Carolina game 1. You could beat Mississippi State at home. I think there's a lot more wiggle room in South Carolina's schedule than there is on some of these others, including Florida, right? But when I look at the battle of attrition that goes on, the odds of South Carolina, where they're starting at right now, staying healthy throughout the whole year on the offensive line and defensive line is very low. It's not going to happen. Doesn't happen for anybody. So what happens when a thin offensive line and defensive line has a couple injuries that you're going to have during the year? What happens when you have that and then you got to go to Tennessee, and you got to go to Missouri, and you got to go to A&M, and then you get Kentucky, and then you get Clemson. And Jacksonville State's not a walk in the park either with what they have going on. So that's why I have it where I have it. But John, I hope I'm wrong. I hope South Carolina goes 8 and 4 because I love Shane Beamer.
We're big Carolina guys.
We're big South Carolina guys here. I love Shane Beamer. But I just don't see it this year, brother.
I mean, you're totally fine. I just,
no, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
I got a couple of things I want to get y'all's thoughts. That's all. This is actually the first year I've done this. I've got my 4 college football playoff teams. I want to tell y'all, and they're like pickable order. So
go ahead.
LSU, Florida State, Michigan, and Georgia.
Okay.
Wow.
I like it.
Okay.
Wow.
I like that.
Florida State coming out of the ACC. Florida State in there. Yeah. That's why I said it was the biggest insurance game in college football.
Yeah.
You could have both LSU and Florida State in the college football.
So who do you have winning LSU and Florida State week 1?
LSU.
Okay. So then you have Florida State running the table, winning at Clemson, and then beating them again.
Yeah.
Could happen.
There you go.
Could happen.
John, thanks, buddy.
Hey,
go ahead. You got one more?
See y'all.
Go ahead.
See you, man. Thank you.
I don't know if y'all saw the report that the ACC was meeting about, what was it, Cal,
Stanford, and SMU.
Yeah. Yeah. What likelihood of it happening, and what would y'all think of adding those 3 teams to the Atlantic Conference?
Yeah, well, I know where they're doing it. They're trying to find a way. SMU said they won't take TV revenue for 7 years. They're trying to make more money to be able to appease Florida State and Clemson, because even Cal and Stanford, they just want to get let into the party, at the end of the day, and they'll take a less of a cut. I just don't know if the money's going to be enough to get to the level, because the only wiggle room in the contract between Florida State and Clemson and the ACC, with ESPN, is that they have to have a certain percentage of revenue matching or something like at least half of whatever their competitors is. It's something like that. I need to look up the exact rule. And this, I think, gives them a chance to get closer to that, but I don't know if it's enough money to even reach that point. So I think that's what they're trying to do. So, but John, we appreciate it,
John. Thanks a lot, man. All right, guys. Hey, Jared and Cade, everybody else on the line, y'all call in next week.
Call in Monday.
Please.
These predictions will still be true. It's just still week 0. All right, Booster Club land as I head up for bed.
Go to Cody Williams with a $10 donation. Appreciate it, Cody. LSU fan here. Daniel's numbers have been identical from freshman year to last season. Why does everyone think this year he's going to make a huge jump? I don't understand. LSU needs more to win it, in my opinion.
I think a lot of it's because last year, about halfway through the season, he started using the downfield passing game. And I tell you what, having similar numbers to what he had at Arizona State to LSU, I think that's a big jump when you're going against SEC defenses. But I do think him not turning the ball over was a big deal. And I think weapon-wise, I think he's in year 2 now of the system. You have 4 of 5 offensive linemen coming back, including both your tackles. So you have chemistry up front. You have a really good backfield. You have Malik Neighbors and some other guys out wide that I trust. You have a tight end that was young last year, made plays in big moments, who's coming back as well. So I think he's going to keep growing. Yeah, you need more than just a quarterback, but you sure as hell need the quarterback. And if you don't have him, you got a guy behind him in Nussmeier that's a pretty good player too.
Let's go to Preston.
Defense too.
Yeah. Let's go to Preston Broser with a $10 donation. Appreciate it, Prest. I have Wisconsin going 10-2, winning the West, losing to Washington State and Ohio State, then blowing the barn doors off Minnesota for the Axe back. Hashtag on Wisconsin. I got that exact record.
I'll do you one better. I got them going 11-1, losing. I've got them losing at Illinois, but beating Ohio State at home, and then losing to Michigan in the conference championship game.
I have a loss to the Buckeyes at home. That's what I have.
Let's go to Jack Hogan with the $5 donation. Appreciate it, Jack. Jalen Milroe will transfer when it's clear that Saban wants to play a true murder ball without a dual threat.
Yep.
Also, RIP Detroit football legend Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt. Yeah, saw that for sure. RIP. That was horrible news. I agree with you. I don't think Jalen Milroe fits this system. I think Jalen Milroe, for some reason I can't say that name right now, will go somewhere that has a system that fits more of his style. And you need to use his running ability wherever he goes because he's absolutely deadly. Dude could go line up and play slot right now.
All right, let's go to David S. with the $10 donation. Appreciate it, David. Good call, guys. Also just want to say that nobody expects Mertz to be a world beater, but players can improve in different environments. Remember, Bo Nix was a meme at Auburn before going to Oregon.
Yeah, but I mean, Bo Nix won a lot more games, bigger games than what Graham Mertz did at Wisconsin.
And statistically, Graham Mertz is the worst quarterback in the SEC.
Yeah.
Let's go to Peter Young with a $2 donation. SEC prediction: Texas beats A&M in 2024.
Okay, write it down.
All right, 3 minutes for bets.
All right, here we go. See y'all tomorrow. That's what I'm saying. I want 2 extra bets for tomorrow. I'm sick of betting this bullshit NFL preseason and Major League Baseball stuff. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Tony?
All right. Chargers plus 7.5 minus 110, and then the Lions plus 4.5 minus 110.
All right, give me. Taking the Braves money line. I mean, why not? Strider on the mound, the mustache god, minus 140. Then I'm going to the Rays minus 1.5, plus 160 against who? Yankees.
They lost for me yesterday.
I know.
Yeah, I know, right?
That. To the Nats.
To the Nationals. And the White Sox lost to the A's.
Disgusting. All right, Ace is going to go Pats money line at minus 135. Then he's going to go Chargers, Niners, over 38 at minus 110. It is the Chargers, not the Rams, right? I did write that down right.
Chargers.
I believe it is.
Chargers.
Yep. All right.
All right, real quick, Farmer Jake, I'm not going to give you a motivational speech, but congrats on getting married a month ago. And Kristen,
you owe him one.
You owe him one. You owe him one Monday.
You come home. All right, you come home and you come watch the show. All right, maybe we'll hook you up some merch. Maybe a little.
Yeah, Monday we got you. We'll take it to the farm.
Poll. Who will win the SEC, boys?
Georgia. The options.
Georgia, LSU, Alabama, and other.
I'm gonna say Georgia 46%.
47%.
Other 15%.
Wow.
Alabama 11%.
Wow.
LSU 26%. Georgia 48%.
Oh,
all over.
Y'all been on polls.
Right on the poll.
Dude, we've been just
yeah.
Those multiple choice ones are the hardest ones too.
Yeah. Especially
Alabama was what, 11%?
11%.
Other had more than Alabama.
When have you seen it that low?
That's
Never.
wild.
Never.
That's wild.
Great show, fellas.
Yeah, great show. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. We're almost to 100,000, as I said. Make sure you're following us on Twitter as well. Thanks for everybody calling in. Enjoy the first weekend of college football. We're going to be dropping our bets tomorrow morning. God, I can't even believe I'm saying that. All right, we're going to be dropping our college football bets tomorrow morning, so make sure you're following us on X, Twitter, whatever they're calling it this week when we drop those. And like the wait for college football season, we're going. Gone.